What do you want to say? Don't be shy.
You know what my book is?
What's my book?
The Uncle Games. Mama's gonna read.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Donica and Shelby Read. I'm Donica, and for the rest of May, Shelby and I are deeming this month Hunger Games May. As you know, we've been social distancing, and we weren't even planning on putting out a video again until maybe our June recent reads, and hopefully in June things would have settled down a little bit. I randomly texted her the other day and I said, have you read Hunger Games? Because the next book, the prequel in the series, the fourth book, is coming out at the end of May. I was like, let's do a book talk on it. She said, not only have I not read it, I don't even remember the movie. So I was like, why don't we do kind of a book vlog? Look, I don't watch a lot of book vlogs, and we kind of do our own thing on this channel anyway, so our book vlogs are gonna look very different probably than everyone else. Shelby reads in like bursts, and I read very sporadically throughout a period of days, so I'm sure I'm gonna have like different outfit changes, different days. We are gonna check in periodically as we're reading to let you know how we feel. This is Shelby's first time reading them. This is my second time. But before we get into my check-ins, I want to take y'all back. I need to set the scene for you because this is a reread, but I read this 10 years ago. It was just little baby Donica. I found the series when the second book had just come out, so that was 2009. I had just moved. We had moved to Las Vegas from Texas. So not only had I moved across country, my husband was working mids. He had just started with the Air Force. It's hard to sleep because I'm like alone in our house that we just moved into. When I wasn't on my little iPod playing like little games at the time, probably Doodle Jump, let's throw it all the way back. I read the first one through the first night. I read the second one through the second night, and I had to wait until that next year for the third one. But the relationship I have with this series is very nostalgic, and just like with anything else, when you think back on a time and you're just like, it was such a crazy time, and this like comforted me, and this book is like one of my top series of all time, right with Harry Potter, which is always gonna be my number one all-time favorite series is Harry Potter. As I'm rereading this, I think it's all of our greatest fears. I don't reread. First of all, I don't reread books, rarely. So I think our biggest fear when we reread one of our favorite books is that we're gonna like have weird feelings to it. I don't think with the Hunger Games is so good. It's so good. And the movies are so good too. Okay, so bye for now, and I will check in a little bit.
Hi everybody! So I'm super excited. As you know, I'm going to be reading The Hunger Games for the very first time. I have never read a Hunger Games book. I haven't picked the book up. I've never even seen it physically. So it was like the thing to see, so I legitimately remember none of it. The only thing about the movie that I maybe remember is just from memes. I volunteer as tribute or whatever, like that's the only thing I remember from the movie, and it's not even because I remember it from the movie, it's just because I see the memes. Let's get this thing going. I'm gonna start reading and I'll check back in later today and I'll tell you my thought. Oh, one last thing, if there is I just spent too much time on Netflix yesterday, and I should be wearing my glasses and I didn't, so pay no mind.
Hey guys, so I'm checking in. I've read 2 chapters. And like I said, like I'll read 2 chapters and then have to do something else. So I finished 2 chapters. It might be because I drank a energy drink, a Bang, and I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew now. But oh my gosh, this book is just as good as I remember it. Me and Shelby are 7 years apart. Prim and Katniss are closer in age. I think they're 4 years apart. Around the time I read this, Shelby was like around Prim's age in the book. I think she was either like 12 or 13. As I always say, I put myself into the books too much to an uncomfortable level. Yeah, so I'm sure back when I read it, that was definitely like a factor in why I was so emotionally invested in it, because at the time my sister was around like Prim's age in the book. So me and Shelby were talking about, you know, she was going to start reading because we pretty much are radio silence whenever we're doing these book talks or vlogs. But she was like saying, now when I'm reading, I'm going to just think of Jennifer Lawrence as Katniss. Okay, I was just telling her, I think the casting for this book was incredible. Definitely when I'm reading Liam Hemsworth, Gale, Peeta, Josh Hutcherson, Katniss, Jennifer Lawrence, I mean, I think the casting is just it was just perfect. So I definitely am reading and envisioning all these characters. Effie as, I can't remember the actress's name, but also was a perfect cast. Now that the movie's obviously out, it wasn't at the time. So I'm just envisioning these real people, and it's just incredible. When Prim is picked and Katniss volunteers, I put tries not to cry, cries a lot, because that's still such a powerful scene in the book. And it's, I mean, what are we, like 20 pages in and that's happening? I mean, just, this book just gets you right from the beginning. It's so good. Oh. One quote that I just loved, when Katniss gets picked and she goes up to the front and Effie is just trying to get like, it's everything back on track, and she's like, let's all give a round of applause or whatever. And Katniss says, I stand there unmoving while they take part in the boldest form of dissent they can manage, silence. Which says, we do not agree. We do not condone. All of this is wrong. And I was like, yeah, District 12. And then the little, I think I'll check back in once I finish part 1. This book is so good.
So it's officially my first check-in. I'm on page, I'm not sure because it's on mobile, so I don't know what page I'm on, but I'm pretty sure it's page 1. Prim just gave well, we still don't know her name's Katniss. I'm assuming it's Katniss. She hasn't said her name yet. But the main girl just got a gift of goat cheese wrapped in basil leaves from her little sister because it's reaping day, and it sounds so delicious, and she put it in her pocket and I want to eat it. That's my first check-in of the day. I don't know what page I'm on. So I'm at the part where it's the reaping, and Primrose's name just got called, and Primrose's name just got called, and Katniss is like freaking out, and Prim is walking up to the stage. Her shirt is untucked. Her shirt's untucked in the back. She's so little. Hello, I'm back, and I'm a little bit more mentally stable. The part that just got me was they're at the reaping and Primrose got her name called and Katniss was freaking out because I already knew that meme I was talking about where Katniss says, I volunteer as tribute. So it all started hitting me all at once that Katniss was going to sacrifice herself, or she was going to volunteer herself in place of her sister. What got me straight in the heart was when Primrose is so little and she's walking up to the stage because her name got called and her shirt is sticking out because she's too little for the shirt. Close the app, I turned on the camera, and that's what you just saw. That was just so beautiful. So I can't wait to read the rest. I already love the writing. I'm already forming like how the characters look in my brain. I'm not picturing Katniss as she is in the movie right now. I'm kind of making my own. I have all the characters in my brain kind of looking a certain way, and the only person who looks exactly like they do in the movies to me is Effie Trinket. Like, I just can't get that out of my head. So my hand's all shaky. I probably can't even use this footage, but I'll check in later.
Hey guys, so I finished part 1, the tributes. We do find out more information about the capital. Little things that obviously I don't remember, like the capital is in the Rockies. You have to go through a tunnel to get to it. So that's why when the uprising happened, they failed the first time, because as they were scaling the mountains, the Capitol Air Force was able to just kind of take them out. As I'm reading, I just love seeing the difference between Gale and Peeta. I remember when I read the book, I was team Peeta all the way. I mean, how can he's got this all adoring, never ending love for Katniss. I remember watching the movie, I kind of could see more from Gale's perspective. You don't get too much more. There is a lot more depth from watching the movie, which is funny because I feel like some book to movie adaptations either miss the mark completely or they're just almost word for word from the book, which is good. But I feel like with the Hunger Games, the movie really added depth to the book. Watching the movie and seeing more, being more team Gale, and obviously reading, you see the connection that Gale and Katniss had. She didn't have a father, he had lost his father, and they only had each other. That's a type of bond really that's almost unbreakable, which kind of reading you feel bad for Peeta because they're like, oh, you're really fighting a losing battle here. But I do love that Gale is like the more stereotypical provider, strong, and a hunter, a gatherer, everything, while Peeta is a more silent and sensitive provider, but he's just as good as Gale. It's just they don't have that bond. End of chapter 4 and 6, it ends with Katniss kind of Gale doing something kind and Katniss twisting it and being like, I think he's doing this for this reason, like to further his game in this way or whatever, not really knowing, she obviously can't see that everything, Peeta's end goal, as we know, is to survive and to win and to do everything he can to help Katniss win. He knows he's not getting out of there alive because if at all possible, Katniss is winning. So we do meet two of my favorite characters. So we have Cinna, is played by Lenny Kravitz in the movie, and really during this whole grooming for this competition, Cinna is all that Katniss has to ground her. He's the only normal face outside of Peeta, and Peeta is her enemy. So even that is, not comforting. But Cinna is really there for her as a friend and to help her get through. And this is actually his first Hunger Games, and he requested District 12. And I think if anything, he probably felt pity. We do meet Rue, sweet baby angel Rue, who is another top character for me in this series. She's 12 years old. She's from District 11, and Katniss can't help but see her sister in Rue because they're the same age. When they interviewed her, she said she's fast and she's hard to catch. If you can't catch me, you can't kill me, so don't count me out. I'm like, sweet baby Rue. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to hear Shelby's thoughts on little Rue. Are you Shelby? I believe it's when the movie came out, the first movie. It was like this big controversy. People were like boycott it, and I'm over here like, sis, I already got my tickets on pre-order. Ain't no boycott. I got my popcorn. There was, that controversy, and I can see reading it again, you're like, oh, this was very dark. It's children killing children. It is dark. We can agree on that. It's not like there's no point to this story. Just reading this, knowing how dark it is, it does make me very curious to see. As far as I know, we don't really know too much more of the prequel that's coming out at the end of May, but knowing it's from President Snow's perspective and I feel like these books do have a point. Obviously, there is a lesson to be learned. She's definitely trying to tell a certain story. So I'm wondering, what does she want us to get from her telling it from the perspective of the villain? I'm just so interested. Then we kind of wrapped up the first part with one of the most infamous scenes and one of my favorite scenes in the series. I remember being so hyped when I read this. I was like, yeah, because Katniss is in front of the judges and she's about to get rated. This rating is very important. As she goes in there, the judges are all bored. They want to eat. They want to get out of here. And she's like, I am about to be slaughtered. You brought me here, ripped me away from my family, from the meager life that I was trying to carve out for myself because of y'all. And y'all don't have even the slightest inclination to watch me, to watch what I can do and rate me. She's like, she's there right into that apple in that pig's mouth, and the judges are like, gasped and rich. But I am so ready to jump back into the book when I have the chance and get into the Hunger Games. That's part 2, and I'm just gonna be crying for the next hour.
Peeta is already my favorite character in the whole book. He announces his love for Katniss on national television. So it's another check-in. I think I'm gonna make some tea. I just want to change up the scenery a little bit, so I'm gonna try to make that gillyweed tea. So something I really wasn't expecting from this book going into it, I guess I was expecting more combat. Something I wasn't expecting was the survival aspect of it, the wilderness survival. Then when she gets partnered up with Rue, getting to hear Rue's experience in survival, also getting to hear about Rue's district, and then Katniss's realization that even though her district is horrible, there are districts that are even more unjust and even more terrible than hers. The book is just getting more complex. The story is getting even deeper, and I have not been this satisfied with a book in a really long time. I know that something I always complain about in books is I wish they went into more detail here, or I wish I knew more about this. If the book is going to make me question something or be interested in something or spark my curiosity, I want to feel like it's answering it, or at least that it's going to answer it later. I'm about, maybe 40% of the way through this book, and I have a lot of questions, and the author put a lot of questions about the story into my head. Like, I want to know more about the Capitol, I want to know more about Panem, I want to know more about the politics, and I'm almost halfway done with the book. I'm just so grateful to know that this is a series. I'm sure all of that will be answered or touched on, so I'm super excited. I have not felt this satisfied in a story in a really long time. So the weird spin is that all of this is happening and there's an entire society watching this like entertainment on TV. Like, that's so wild. During this story, any scene that you're reading, or even if you're just watching Katniss walk through the woods being dehydrated, like, there's always that backdrop of there's someone watching this. People are watching this for entertainment, and that just makes the story so interesting. Actually, I'm very surprised because I was not expecting this much from this book, and I'm only 40% through, and I hope y'all enjoyed me making this tea, trying out this tea strainer. I'll talk to you in my next check-in.
Hello everyone. So I finished up part 2. I have moved a couple chapters into the final third part, the victor. If you sit down at part 2 and you have to stop, you are just gonna be so mad at yourself. I breezed through that. That whole section is intense. I feel like the only reason I remember so much is because of the movies. I'm a very like visual person, so the movie really helped, but I know a lot of times books just kind of go in one part of my brain and out the other. Peeta teaming up with the career tributes. Katniss is up in a tree minding her own business and she sees Peeta down there and she's like, hello, what gives? So that's just more turmoil for Katniss. She's like, I was right this whole time. He's been plotting against me. The people that live in the capital are so, like, it's almost like they're insatiable. Their desire for entertainment is so insatiable that, like, the games aren't bad enough. When it gets boring, meaning these poor children have not killed each other for a while, the gamekeepers have man-made things they'll do. Those are pretty cool. Like, I have to say, like, those parts are really intense in all 3 books, or the first 2. I don't remember what happens in the 3rd book. I cannot wait to get to that one here in a couple weeks. Like, a wall of fire comes at Katniss. Then there's mutant animals. They're capable of changing the climate in the Hunger Games arena. I feel like that book has a little sci-fi aspect to it as well, because the technology in the capital is advanced. The medicine they can use can heal super fast. Very advanced hovercraft. It is interesting because this is obviously set in the distant future, despite all of the districts other than the capital being so far back in terms of not having vehicles, not having electricity. So Katniss gets burned during one of these dang fireballs being thrown at her by the gamekeeper. Once again, they have medicine that can just heal like a pretty bad, like, 2nd-degree burn overnight. They paint Haymitch as a drunk, which he is, but as you read and you see what these people are going through, to know that he is the victor, so who knows how many he had to kill, and now he has to oversee kids being killed yearly. They haven't had a victor from District 12 in, like, who knows how long. So Haymitch oversees these poor kids who he just knows, like, basically, why get close to you? You're going to die. It's more like his circumstances. I don't think he's a bad guy, but Katniss is like getting gifts from him. She gets, the first gift is like a salve for her burn, and she kind of is like, oh, there's hope for Haymitch yet. But I really like Haymitch. He's like my little unsung hero. Through the stories Katniss tells, you can kind of see Prim's strengths and that she's not just a little girl. You can see that there's a fire in Prim, just like Katniss has. So I think that's a really important thing. A really important aspect of Prim that becomes more apparent and more important as the series goes on. So we do come across chapters where Rue, the Shadow and Katniss, and they actually team up, and Rue's so excited to team up with Katniss. Rue's the oldest of her 6 siblings, and she's 12, so she's like a little Katniss protecting her siblings. We get those chapters, which are some of my favorite of the book because I absolutely adore Rue so much. When Rue dies, where she just picks a bunch of wildflowers and covers Rue in them. And so I'm already crying at that part, right? Because I'm like shedding some tears, some silent tears. And then she gets the package. She gets her 2nd package of the game, and it's the bread from District 11. Because how expensive it is to send gifts. Every single person, what did they have to give up to just donate just enough the whole district could pitch in and send this bread, who was meant for Rue, to Katniss. Anyway, so at that point I was just sobbing uncontrollably at that point. I left off that where she is headed to the feast to get her little backpack. I'm gonna finish it. I will do my final check-in in a bit.
So I just read the part where after Rue passes away and Katniss puts the flowers all over her, and then Katniss gets a gift, and it's bread from District 11. That was beautiful. Also, I can just sense something is brewing. Like, Katniss already hated the district, but I can just tell that something is brewing in her, and I can't wait to see what happens. I just feel like there's got to be something that she does to make an impact on the district. So that alliance with Rue was just so beautiful, and yeah, an awesome part of the book.
Y'all, I know my eyelashes signing off. My eyelashes, by the end of the night, these babies are like, goodbye to you. Okay, so after lunch and a really good nap, I finished The Hunger Games, and I'll just start off by saying 5 out of 5. It was still as good today as 10 years ago, a whole different decade of my life, and it still touched me, if not even more. It's funny because Katniss just once or twice refers to Peeta as the boy with the bread. Those two explain how different they are. The girl on fire, the spark that sets a whole nation ablaze, and then he's just like the boy with the bread. A point that's brought up often is how Katniss just says, like, I will never have kids. I don't even think I will even know how to properly love. She's trying to figure out her feelings between Gale and Peeta. Peeta, she was in this really intense situation with. She had to lie. I mean, mentally, she's a mess right now after facing what she had to face. And I feel like her heart is with Gale, but there's like this bond with Peeta that she just can't erase. But she keeps saying, like, I can't give Peeta what he needs. Even if I end up giving him my love, he'll just end up hating me in the future. Cato ends up being the last enemy. He's like from District 1. He's one of the tough, big, burly career tributes. His partner, Clove, ends up dying. He's really only taken out because the Mutts corral them up into the cornucopia. He has this armor on him that makes it hard to pierce. I don't remember it being that graphic, but all that's left of Cato is a literal hunk of meat. Oh my gosh. So it's not that graphic in the movie, I don't think, but Katniss ends up finishing him off in probably one of the most graphic ways someone dies in this book is by a slow mauling and just being ripped apart. I'm so curious to know how I would have felt if I couldn't just jump right into the second book. I don't know if I would have been like super satisfied with the ending if I couldn't just jump right into the second book. It ends before they can even say hi to their family. It ends kind of on just a sad note between him and her and Peeta, because Peeta finally realizes that it's all just an act, and Katniss is still kind of unaware that Peeta's madly in love with her. Literally one of the last sentences of the book is her saying, already the boy with the bread is slipping away from me. And we are going to immediately read book 2, so I'm so excited for that. Book 1 is ingrained into my head. Most of this book I remembered, but book 2 and then book 3 especially, it's almost like they intertwine, and I can't remember what happened in what book. So I'm so excited to get into those again. The Kindle store books, the Hunger Games books, which I bought 10 years ago, they were updated. So now they're like the special 10th anniversary books. They have like a special 10-year interview with Suzanne Collins in the back. The person interviewing her, I think it's David Leviathan, he asked her basically what her idea was behind this, and she said the just war theory. What circumstances gives you the moral right to wage war, and what behavior becomes acceptable in war and post-war. So she said she was flipping through the channels, and she'd be like flipping through entertainment channels, like let's say you're just flipping and you see singing competitions or reality TV, and then at the same time she was going through the news, and it was the Iraq war. She was playing around with the just war theory involving kids. So she said she's loved Greek mythology since she was a kid, so she did write this with a little bit of inspiration, or a lot of inspiration, from the myth of Theseus. As the young prince of Athens, he participated in a lottery where he required 7 girls and 7 boys, and they were thrown into a labyrinth to be destroyed by a minotaur. This led to like an uprising of the Athenians. So she really just kind of goes into depth about all of these different aspects that went into the Hunger Games. Anyway, I highly suggest you go and check out that interview. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for listening to my thoughts and opinions on my reread of this book. If you are rereading, if you've read it, if you have any other insights or input, feel free to leave them down below in the comment section. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps us out. And we will see you next Sunday in the next installment of Hunger Games May as we read Catching Fire. We will see you next Sunday. Take care, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.
Hi everyone, it's a new day and a new setup. So I actually finished the Hunger Games that day that I was filming. That first day I actually finished it, but I didn't have time to do my wrap-ups of my thoughts on the Hunger Games because I just kind of finished it late. At the beginning of the video, I had said that I had watched the Hunger Games, but I haven't. I know for a fact it was such a distant memory that I didn't even know at that point if I had really watched it or not. And after watching the movie, I can tell you for a fact that I had not seen the movie. So anyways, I just wanted to throw that out there. I think I'm a pretty big romantic, so I love like a cutie, like cheesy love situation. So like I was a huge sucker for when Peeta announced his love for Katniss in front of everybody on television. I was like, wow, that's amazing. I had to keep telling myself, like, this isn't a love story between Peeta and Katniss. Katniss is trying to survive. And once she finds out that she can save Peeta, she finds out it's a matter of survival for both of them. And so that's Katniss's goal, not really love. The book ended off, and it really lent itself to the second book very well. I wanted to just go ahead and start reading the second book. And as soon as I'm done filming this, I'm going to go ahead and read the second book because it almost, all of the action was the games, but it almost left you feeling like, wait, there's more to come. The games were just the beginning of it. So I'm really excited to see what happens after book one. I think that it ended perfectly.
Why will you elaborate on that? No.
For just a second, I want to talk about how I watched the movie because Donica said it was like amazing. Donica loved the movie. I watched the movie and like I said, I still haven't finished it just because I've already tried watching it twice and I don't know, like I just don't get the same feeling that I got from the book, and I guess I was imagining something and it didn't come to fruition on the screen, which isn't the movie's fault. Obviously, we're not gonna have the same vision at the end of the day because we're different people. And the casting was also not what I wanted. Katniss and Gale, first of all, in my brain, had like black hair and like silver eyes or like light eyes. And I'm gonna tell y'all really quick who I would like as my like 3. Cinna was perfect. 20 fun to go, whatever get me. Oh, okay. Ana de Armas. The girl from Knives Out, I want her to be Katniss because this movie was out in 2012. Anna right now is 32 years old, and Jennifer Lawrence is 29. So Anna would have only been 2 years older than Jennifer Lawrence. So Jennifer Lawrence was what? Let's see, 2012. So Jennifer Lawrence was like 21 when she played Katniss, I think. And Ana would be 23, I think. So I think Ana de Armas with black hair should have been Katniss. Logan Lerman should have been Gale. Logan Lerman would have only been 20, so he would have been 3 years younger than Anna. Liam would be Peeta, and that, after reading the book, I was absolutely charmed by Peeta, and I just pictured him. When I watched the movie, from the beginning, Peeta was like just, yeah, that's my cast. Purely in the book, I love Peeta for Katniss, and I want them to be together, and it's just going to be very interesting because before being in the bubble, her and Gale shared something that Peeta could never understand, but now her and Peeta share something that no one else in the world can understand, what her and Peeta went through. It hasn't even fully formed into a love triangle yet, really, because Katniss has really been focused on survival, not really who she loves. So I give the first book a 5-star across the board. I really, really loved it. It did wrap it up and it concluded everything, but now I'm just thinking, what's life going to be like for Katniss when she gets back home? Not just because she's traumatized, but because the government is evidently upset with her. So I'm so grateful to Donica that I read it. I just don't really understand or know who President Snow is. I'm assuming that I'll find out soon. We are so grateful for y'all to be watching. If you've read The Hunger Games and you're a fellow Hungarian or whatever we are, let me know what you thought. Thank y'all so much for watching. We are so grateful that you're here. We hope that y'all are staying safe and healthy during this time. And I will talk to y'all in the next video. I'll see y'all later. Thank y'all so much.